Hi, I'm Harshini Busireddy, and I've been I've had these quote calendars, the ones with, positive quotes and inspirational quotes. I have two of them, one in my bedroom and the other in the office. I remember I got them in 2020 when I was navigating severe depression and anxiety spirals that I was like, if I could just, start my day with one nice positive quote that could ground me, that'd be nice. And so I got these two, and it's been over 5 years now. Oh my gosh. Um, and since mid 2024, which is when I started fully like being connected with myself, my body, and seeing the world for what it is. And I think became a much more deeper, like a person with deeper understanding than the surface level built world distortions that we're kind of used to. And I realized that, all my life, just like, most of us, I was told, you know, success is this. You gotta be successful. You gotta make someone proud. You this, you that. And this is what life is. This is what life isn't. And that's what I believed because that's all I knew. And once I started building relationship with myself and just started taking the built world lenses out to see myself clearly with a mirror from my own self, I started realizing that we have so many inspirational quotes that are that make sense from when you think of a person who has quoted it in their context and in their life. It totally makes sense when you see it. You're like, okay. The problem becomes when those quotes are spread over and over again to replicate truth. And suddenly they are stated as truth itself instead of someone else's truth. And that is the reason why I decided I want to look into these quotes because actually, believe it or not, since a few months ago, every time I turn a page on my quote calendar, I just get upset. I have this like 5-10 minute, like, how can someone even say that? And then I think about their life and it's like, okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then I see the fact that they were printed this on a calendar that spreads to 1 million people or more. And then I realize there's so many people out there, including myself, my past self, who believed in every single thing that was an inspirational quote, that was a mantra that, I held on to for all of my day, every single day. And then I realized maybe it's not about stripping the quotes away, because again, they were always someone's truth. So I don't want to take someone else's perspective away, someone else's truth away. What I do want to do is make them a quote that reflects life of all forms, life itself, to allow us to see ourselves a little bit more. Give us breath, give us our sense of self, and maybe, just maybe, take away tiny part of the distorted lenses we carry because the world told us to. So, all right, today is November 8th, and here I have my quote calendar next to me, and I decided that I wouldn't look at the quote and I would turn the page here while I am recording so that my response, my thoughts, my insights are alive as they are being delivered. All right, here we go. First one of the series. Actually, this one's nice. If you get tired, learn to rest, not to quit. By Banksy, street artist. I like that. I actually do. There are a couple of things that I wanna like. There's nuance in it, right? So when you read it, just at first glance, it's actually an amazing quote. If you get tired, learn to rest, not to quit. And that is actually something that, we most often forget that most of the times we keep running towards something at all times and we forget to take rest. We forget to give ourselves some rest so that we are able to give ourselves our cognitive, physical, emotional, all aspects of ourselves rest so that we can move through move around and along with the next phase or next step with more stability and sustainability. So I like it. I like that. Couple of nuances, like I said. And all right. So, first thing, actually, the reason this really resonates with me, at least the first part, if you get tired, learn to rest. Part of me is, I'm a big, big advocate for sustainability, right? And I'm talking about sustainability in life in general, sustainability of your own energy, sustainability of your own capacity, your own way of showing up for yourself or others. I could do a million things in one day and be incredibly appreciated and rewarded and seen as a superhero. And that drained me so much that, 10 days later, I'm actually not able to show up for myself, And for me, sustainability is all about how can I make sure that my life is being built in a way that I can continue to be me every day of my life. So if you get tired, learn to rest. Actually meets it pretty okay, right? And here are a couple of things I was talking about, the nuances. If you get tired, learn to rest. And my take on it really is learn to rest before you get tired. Like, why are we waiting until we are out of energy to collapse instead of moving through it while we take care of ourselves, that we keep ourselves at a pace that we don't actually collapse. That's what, it's actually referring to, right? So for example, one of the scenarios I'm guessing this would apply to is, I'm trying to, I'm working towards, you know, mm, I don't want to take a very big example. Those are the ones that are coming to my mind right now. Like, getting a bigger job, better job, or, working towards, being out there and going on a hike every single day, things like that. And actually, let's talk about that. I think okay. So let's take this example. I am, let's say, I'm working towards going on a walk every day for 30 minutes, right? I can't do that, by the way. I can go on my wheels, my power wheelchair. So reality is a little different, but this is an example. So, all right. So yeah, I am working towards going on a walk every single day for 30 minutes. And I'm like, no matter what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I do it for 10 days, for 20 days. And I start to realize I'm doing it even when I have barely any energy to do it. And after a few days, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't go on a walk. It tires me out. I can't do this anymore. Right? And here it says learn to rest, not to quit. Right? And yeah, that makes sense, right? Rest, take a break, and, restart. It makes sense. And for me, here's how I would reframe it. For example, I have gone on walks for 30 minutes every single day, and I start to realize that my body is, tired. Not because of the walk, but just, one day I just have more work and my body says, I need, just warm tea and sit sit on the couch, curl up, warm tea, sipping warm tea while you look out the window. Right? And I'm like, but if I do that, I wouldn't be meeting my 30-minute walk every day. And there are a lot of days that happens to us, don't we? We want to keep up going on and on and on because we committed to something. And to me, if taking care of yourself breaks a commitment, that commitment was never made for you, was it? Never made for the real you. So the way I would approach it is, okay, so 30 minutes might be a stretch. Maybe I'll just, instead of going out and walking for 30 minutes, I'll curl up and sip my tea in the patio. That is my way of resting so that I don't get tired of walking outside in the first place. Right? Adapt before you get tired of something, because that is how sustainability is built. So that's one nuance, right? And the second nuance I noticed is it says, if you get tired, learn to rest, not to quit. And I don't know if you caught that little bit of not to quit, makes everything a commitment. And just a few minutes ago, I landed on something where, commitment that abandons your own well-being is not a commitment to keep, because it's not for you. And everything in life that everything serves a purpose, right? We are all doing something. We're choosing things based on, one reason or the other. And when, we make a commitment, it has some intention, right? Whether that is, I want to make my partner happy. I want to, get to this goal, achieve this, and, finish that. And that's great. It's great. You are finding ways that matter to you, right? And the problem that comes in when what you chose came from an intention that wasn't centered around your well-being. I could say, I want to keep my partner happy. And then I'm just like, okay, so my partner would be happy if we did ABC. And doing ABC would not be something that maybe, doing ABC right now, I do not have capacity for, which means that I'll be draining myself out and depleting myself. So which one do you uphold? The commitment to keep someone happy, or commitment of your own self to take care of your own self, right? So not to quit is not actually a bad thing. Quitting is not a bad thing. It's important to know when to quit something, especially when it's not centered around your own well-being, right? So in the previous example about the walk, yeah, that makes sense, right? Rest before you get tired, so you can continue doing something that, moves you a little bit closer to, feeling, for whatever reason you chose to go on a walk every day in the first place, right? Sustainable, right? And in the other example, maybe we talk about, actually, I have an example. This is something that happened in my own life, that I was at work back in the day, when I was still, working as a software engineer. And I knew it was draining me out every single day. And I was like, every day I come home and I'm just really tired. And I realized the part of me that was like, if you just rest enough, you just take a vacation day, you'll go back to work and everything will be okay, because, like, your bills, you're that, you're this, right? So I kept going, and I realized that I was harming myself by thinking I can keep it up. Yeah, I got tired, learned to rest. Yeah, sure. Sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes what you are getting tired of is a signal towards something deeper than needing rest. And it's important to see it. So sometimes if you do not quit, causes you more harm than quitting. Yes, the bills are gonna pile up. Yes, things are gonna be, difficult for a while. At least you'll still have you with you. And one thing I've learned is as long as you have you, you'll make it through anything because you won't fight it. You'll learn to find a way. And you always do, because it might not be the right way, it might not be the best way, or might not be the smartest way. And who's to judge any of that anyway? It's your life. And if it's for your well-being, no one can actually tell you what's the right thing for your well-being than you can for yourself. So, yeah, I think that's where I'll end it. I'm really glad Banksy, the street artist, said what they said about, if you get tired, learn to rest, not to quit. I'm pretty sure that was a very true statement and perspective for them as an artist. The reason why I immediately sense nuance is because, like I said in the beginning, quotes are truths of one person, truth and perspective of one person. And they are great reflections of where that person was and how that person approached their life. It's just not universal truth that binds everybody else. And it's not a mantra for someone to abide by. So I hope that gave you a little bit of breath back and a little bit of understanding that it's okay for you to choose you. Thank you so much for listening. And again, I'm Harshini Busireddy, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Thank you.